motivation is not reliable, right? You could wake up one day, feeling that you're ready to work and put a shift in. Other days you're just like, I can't be bothered. Do you know what I mean? But it's the discipline that gets you through those days where you're just kind of like,
You can't just run your business on its good days. If you try to run your business on your good days, then you wouldn't really have much of a business, right?
That in itself, I was just like, you know what, this is the challenge I need, because I feel like I've been training for a long time without much purpose or a goal to train towards. And also, it's a challenge for me now, because this is kind of the first thing I've signed up to since being a dad.
When you live something enough, you pass that on whether you want to or not. And I think that's a really empowering thing to do, to not only give these people who are perhaps in a point in their life where they're struggling to get up in that morning workout, whatever, and giving them this kind of trophy of the 1%. That's so cool.
What was it? I was walking with a few friends one time, and one of them was an online coach as well. I was just talking to him, and one of my mates went up to me. He's like, "Oh man, how's online coaching? You must have loads of free time now." And what's up, guys? Welcome to the Middle Ground podcast, and I'm your host, Reese White.
And I am your other host, Olivier Nicholas. This is episode 4 of The Middle Ground, and we are going to be talking about the power of discipline.
Yes, sir.
And I guess, how that probably intersects through fitness, how that intersects through life, in terms of our career path and stuff. But tell me what you think discipline means to you, Reese.
So what is discipline? I think to sum it up, discipline is just doing what needs to be done despite how you're feeling on the day, or despite whether you want to do it or not. But you just get it done, basically, and you're committed to whatever task that is, that's going to lead you to your goal. And I think the best example I could use for discipline is when we're in the winter right now. We're in Brighton. Winters are pretty brutal. You wake up in the morning to go to the gym, but it's dark, it's cold, it's wet. There's everything telling you, to stay in bed, stay in your warm bed, and just skip the workout. And I think discipline is you, despite not feeling it, or you may be a bit tired, or you're not up for working out, you just get out of bed and just get it done, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. I think also it kind of links in for me a little bit to habits as well. It's like things that we think are going to be beneficial for us, or that are the things that we ought to be doing, very easy to do on our good days, but they're obviously harder to do on our bad days. But to your point with the consistency thing, as soon as you build in consistency, you're able to some degree, I don't want to say like autopilot or automate, but to some degree we're more competent at doing these things on our tougher days. Like, so I use me as an example, because I think and actually you touched upon this in the last episode in terms of learning a new different, like you felt like you were almost having a career shift going from the gym floor to being an online instructor. And it made me think as well, because, when I started training to become a coach, there were so many things that I'm doing now. In fact, I would say 90% of the things that I'm doing now are things that I wasn't expecting to be doing, like in terms of, I knew that coaching was going to be a part of it, but I didn't know that, social media was going to be part of it to the degree that it has been. I didn't know that content was going to be the way that it was to the degree that it has been. So many different things, like, networking, basically everything that comes with being a business owner, right?
Yeah.
And this idea of, you can't just run your business on its good days. If you try to run your business on your good days, then you wouldn't really have much of a business, right? So it's like, you have to learn to be able to keep things going on the days that your head's not as in it, or you're not, you're not oozing with enthusiasm or inspiration. So staying consistent will support you in your kind of troughs, as it were. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, you know what? I think that's a great example. Obviously, we're both online coaches, and there's a lot that we have to do. There's a lot of stuff where we have to tick off on a daily, weekly basis. And, you know, filming content is one of them. Filming content, creating content, and editing content. And that's just stuff that, you know, we have to do. It's quite vital in what we do, right? We're marketing ourselves on social media. That's how people are aware of us and, you know, eventually become our clients or whatever. You know, thinking of content, creating content and editing, I wouldn't say I'm like excited to do that all the time. Do you know what I mean? But I know it has to be done in order for me to reach my goals for this year. Do you know what I mean? And that's why, I think that's why, you know, there's a whole talk about, you know, what's better, discipline or motivation. I think that's why discipline will always top motivation because motivation is not reliable, right? You could wake up one day, you know, feeling that you're ready to work and put a shift in. Other days you're just like, you know, I can't be bothered. Do you know what I mean? But it's the discipline that gets you through those days where you're just kind of like, I've got to film content. Don't really feel like it, but I've got to do it. It's my job. If I don't do this, then I won't get clients. If I don't get clients, then I won't earn a living. Do you know what I mean? And I think what then causes discipline is giving things a purpose. And I've got a really good example actually. So I used to. So I've recently become a dad. I've got like a 4-month-old baby who's beautiful, love him to bits, but it's hard work. Before the baby arrived, I used to do a lot of fitness competitions. So I was always training towards competitions or training towards something. And they were essentially my goals kind of thing. You know, high rocks, turf games, all that kind of stuff. I did a marathon in April. And then I said to myself, no more signing up to competitions or runs or anything like that, because, you know, we're leading up to my baby being born. But I'm just going to go to the gym and train. What happened, which I didn't realize, you know, until later on, is that, I was disciplined. I was going to the gym, but because I wasn't training towards anything, it got harder and harder to get up and go to the gym, because I was just training for the sake of it. You know, I was just training to maybe build muscle and maybe get as strong and healthy as I could until the baby was born. But then that's not a big enough goal, if that makes sense. And before, when I was like training towards these competitions, I had an end date, a competition to train towards. I was getting out of bed like on the days that I didn't feel like it, because I was like, no, if I want to do good in this competition, I need to get up and do this workout. And that was really lacking when I didn't have anything to compete for. And then two months after Luca was born, one of my mates put together a photo shoot. And he said, look, we're going to hire this gym. We're going to do a photo shoot. It's in 8 weeks' time. So sign up to this photo shoot challenge. And basically the challenge is you got to train hard in those 8 weeks, lose as much fat as you can, get as shredded as you can. And then when you get to the photo shoot, you get some pretty sick photos at the end. And I was like, sign me up. Yeah, like, so that in itself, I was just like, you know what, this is the challenge I need, because I feel like I've been training for a long time without much purpose or a goal to train towards. And also it's a challenge for me now, because this is kind of the first thing I've signed up to since being a dad. And I kind of wanted to prove that you can get into incredible shape whilst running a business, being a partner, being a friend, and obviously being a dad at the same time. And trying to juggle all those things was pretty tough. But as soon as I signed up to it, all of a sudden I was just waking up in the morning and just going to the gym and being more excited about going to the gym, even when it was raining, cold, wet, whatever. I was just like, no, I need to go to this gym session now because I've got a photo shoot in 8 weeks' time. And if I don't do this, if I miss this gym session, that's going to mess up my week, that's going to mess up whatever. And I won't look as good as I want to be for this photo shoot.
I love that. I think there's two points I want to make on that. Like, firstly, one that, because I saw on your story the other day when it was like, and I really liked the like the wording on it when you said, like, I think it was a picture of you at like 6 a.m. or something, and you'll either come back or you just go into it. I can't remember which one, but you were like, oh, you know, it was like a motivational message for people who train in the morning, and you say like, we are the 1%. I thought that was really cool. I thought there was a lot of power in that, because you're kind of, it's not easy to do that. I mean, like, I'm the same. I get up in the morning, so does my wife, to go to the gym in the morning. But it doesn't, you know, not everyone can do that. Not everyone finds that easy to do. So to kind of give that a stage like that, calling it the 1%, I thought was really quite powerful.
Yeah.
Like my question is not about that. My question is about, now that you've got, so obviously like you work towards this photo shoot, is there something that you're working towards now, or are you looking for something new to work towards? Like, where are you in that?
So I think after that photo shoot, then I had kind of like a holiday just to look forward to. So that kind of gave me something to train towards. But then I think now I'm in the flow of being a dad, and I'm getting used to that.
Right.
This year I will be back to kind of signing up for competitions and doing that. I probably won't be training towards it as intensely as maybe before, because obviously I'm a dad now, but I see that as another challenge in itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, this year I've got a few things kind of lined up to do. And they're competitions I've done before, so I've got like times to beat as well. So that's just another extra motivation. But yeah, I'm going to try and get back on that horse as well, for sure.
When you say time to beat, do you mean like, is it like is this for a run or something?
So yeah, there's a thing called High Rocks.
I know High Rocks.
Yeah. So I've done a few of those, and I've got like a PB time, because the race never changes.
Yeah.
So it'll be like, can I beat this time under the circumstances I am now? But I think going back to the 1%, I did a presentation to my clients about this, because I kind of wanted them to. I wanted to remind them that what they're doing is different. Is different to most people. So waking up to go to the gym when it's raining and cold, 99% of people would stay in bed, but you're getting up and doing it. You're the 1%. Meal prepping your food over the weekend, where most people would skip that, and then they end up buying lunch out, or going to, it could be anything. I think every time you find yourself in a situation where you're telling yourself, I can't be bothered to do it, but you do it, that just puts you far ahead of everyone else. So it's actually so easy to be ahead of most people, because most people would just choose the easy option. So every time you do something and you overcome that, you should be proud of yourself. You should be proud that you're just one step ahead of most people out there, and you're doing things that people won't do, and that's what sets you apart, right? And I think it's kind of like a whole iceberg effect, right? It's like you see the top of the iceberg, and that could be someone in their prime in terms of running a business, being healthy, looking jacked, or they got a six pack, or whatever it is. But underneath the water, underneath the surface, is the majority of the iceberg. That's where the kind of the main iceberg is, right? And it's bigger than the peak. They're all the stuff that people don't see you doing. It is all the early mornings. It is all the, going to the gym when you don't feel like it. It is doing tasks that you don't feel like doing, but you get it done anyway. It's all those 1% that builds the iceberg underneath, but people only see the peak, right?
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I think what an empowering message as well. And I think, I think that when you were talking about the High Rocks thing, I've noticed this has come up a few times now. You're not talking about anyone else doing High Rocks, right? You said your own personal best. And I think whether it's deliberate or whether it's unintentional. I think that the message that I certainly get from your content is one of, you're your own competition, right? And I think you don't necessarily like have to call that out, but I think you kind of live it. You know what I mean? Like, I think the way that you kind of conduct things when you say, this is my personal best last time, so I want to beat that. I think when you live something enough, you pass that on whether you want to or not. And I think that's a really empowering thing to do, to not only give these people who are perhaps in a point in their life where they're struggling to get up in that morning workout, whatever, and giving them this kind of trophy of the 1%. That's so cool. And I think, I just wanted to say, I think that's a really cool message. I think not enough people talk about that. Yeah.
I think essentially, we could talk about the 1% and being ahead of other people, but the only person you letting yourself down is yourself. Yeah. Right. Like if you skip this task or the gym or whatever it is, it's not having an impact on anyone else. It's all on you. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, if you think about athletes, they've got a strict training routine. They have to train every day. I don't know, people writing a book, they're writing it one page at a time. It's people see the finished products, but they don't see the grit and work that goes behind it. And all that stuff is purely discipline, personally.
And actually, I think that's true of perception is a funny thing, right? Like, perception of how other people see things and like the kind of the reality of it. It's a bit like, how I think they've probably made memes about this and stuff. It's like, people's life on social media, people's life off social media kind of thing. And that sort of, and it's like, I think the same thing is true, certainly in your example of the fitness thing, but also like people will make their own assumptions based on the projections that you put out there, right? So people will think that, for example, starting a business is easy, or that, that, okay, so you've just done this thing, so I guess and you don't see all the other moments, like where you're like, oh my God, like this is like, what the hell am I doing, kind of thing, like this was a terrible idea.
you know what? Because I'm an online coach, right? People assume it's like the easiest job in the world, and I should be in Bali working on my laptop, drinking a fucking pineapple smoothie, and what was it? I was walking with a few friends one time, and one of them was an online coach as well. I was just talking to him, and one of my mates went up to me. He's like, "Oh man, how's online coaching? You must have loads of free time now." Yeah. And luckily, my mate, who's also an online coach, he was like, "Why do people think online coaching is easy? It is a grind. You have no idea how much hard work it is." Yeah. People think it's like the easy life, but there's a lot of tasks and things I do on a daily basis that needs to be done to promote myself and do what I do. Having said that, I am going to Thailand for a month, and I will be working out there. But like, I still need to work though. It's not like I'm working for like an hour a day. But yeah, like I think people again just see. They see the finished product, they see the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. But actually, what I'm doing more on my social media, and I was talking to you about this earlier, is that I'm actually just doing more content of actually what my day actually looks like. Yeah, because when people do, they actually realize that I'm just the same. I'm in the same situation as everyone else. When people say they're too busy to train or work on their health, I'm fucking busy as well. We're all busy, but it's like what you prioritize, right? And like I said, I'm even though I'm running a business, I'm a dad. I've got a partner to look after, and so many other things. I still make time for myself to train and work on my fitness, but that then involves me getting up a little bit earlier than I want to. But that's what discipline's all about, right? Oh,
100%. And actually, Dan and Mike from Biceps and Banter came up with a really good analogy the other day, which I thought was, it's so true as well. It's like when you go and work for a company. So if you went to go and get like a 9-to-5 job, you're the employee, right? So you get told the things that you have to do. And if you don't want to do them, it's like, well, whatever, you got to do them, so whatever. But when you start your own business, you're not the employee, right? You're the employer, but you're also the employee. You're actually playing both roles.
Yeah.
So it's like, and what I guess they mean by that is that you have to do these, like, social media isn't going to run itself. I mean, unless you hire someone, of course.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, right. But you know what I mean? Like, there are all these things that you don't want to do, but you've got to do them because you're both the employee and the employer. And it's like, you can't really be like, oh, I don't want to do that, because it's your business. So you have to do the thing, right? Until we're all millionaires, we don't have to do the thing. But yeah. But I don't think that's the case at the moment, at least. But so I think my point is, it is hard work, and I think that's why discipline is super important. And to your point, when you say prioritizing, you do have to do that. Like, I mean, so for example, I've got to the point now where I'm like, okay, so this is everything that I have to do this week, and then you have to prioritize and think, okay, so this is actually more important, and therefore I am going to move this to the following week or something. I am going to try and focus on what is going to move the needle. And I don't know if you do this, but one of the things that I find really helps is to kind of front load your day with the stuff that is more challenging. So when you're sharper, we're always sharper in the morning, right? So you front load your day with the stuff that's the heavy lifting. So if I've got something that I want to work on, whether it's like a strategy or a new course or whatever it might be that's going to require some real focus time, I'll put that at the beginning of the day so that I know that my when I'm sharpest, I'm working through that, and then I can,
Yeah, I think that's almost why I train first thing in the morning, because one, because I have to, essentially but also I find now when I train later on in the afternoon, when I've worked a whole day, my training is not as good. Yeah. So, but also I've then feel good after my training session. I tend to work better. So yeah, but probably not similar to you, but like, that's exactly why I train in the morning. But I suppose to kind of finish off the podcast, like, how does someone listening to this create discipline? What is the kind of like steps to help them out of that?
Good question. I think maybe identifying what the weak points are maybe would be a good place to start. So like if you wanted to be disciplined with, let's take the example of, let's use fitness. So let's say you're getting into fitness, for example, and your weak points are getting up on time in the morning. Once you're there, you're fine, but it becomes a bit sort of ad hoc because of when you wake up. So I think maybe identifying where the areas are that you need to work on, and then work on. And again, so kind of what I was saying earlier is like make it so that the things that you struggle to do on your bad days, but you can do them on your good days, work on making it possible for you to do them on your bad days. So in the example of waking up, making sure that you can wake up even if you don't want to wake up. So how do you make it easy? You put the alarm clock at the end of the room or whatever, but then you can start to create discipline. At least that's how I would approach that. For sure. And I think to kind of finish it off, I think discipline is made when you prioritize and is working towards a goal. Yep. So you know that just despite you not feeling up for doing something, or it's a task that you don't want to do, you remind yourself that this task has to be done for X, Y, and Z. It's going to lead to X, Y, and Z, and lead to a certain goal. So I suppose to kind of sum it up is work towards a goal and give that task a reason towards that goal. And that would give you discipline over motivation, because like I said, motivation comes and goes. It doesn't last. It changes every day. So yeah, well, I think that would be the kind of like foundation for like long-term success in whatever you want to do, is give yourself something to work towards and prioritize it. Love that. Cool.
Yeah, nice.
Nothing to add there. Thanks for listening again. If anyone is indeed listening to this podcast, hopefully they
Please
are.
listen. Yeah. Well, no, appreciate it, guys. And if you like it, our podcast, please subscribe. And yeah, we'll catch you later.
Peace.